Hello, welcome to Empower and Ignite Transformation Podcast with Alicia and Nicole. If you are new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and share. Hi, Alicia, how are you?
Good, good. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I am doing good. You
So
look
how
cute.
Oh, thank you. How's the weather in Michigan?
It is amazing. It is amazing. And we are about to go in a heat wave. So
No.
that's going to be something.
Right, right.
Right. 100 is, they said it's gonna feel like 100 degrees, like by Wednesday.
Imagine what it's going to feel like down here in Georgia,
I know, right? Oh my
right?
gosh.
All
So
right.
I'm excited about today's topic.
Mhm.
I'm excited about all of our topics, really. I think I always say that. But I think because it allows people to start to think and really is different topics that allows them to actually build and
Right.
figure out next steps in their life. So, with this particular topic, I was thinking that it's important for us to address the hesitation that people have and what causes them to not pursue what it is that they really want, right? Like, what's the fear?
Ooh. Okay.
Um, and so I might um hear people say at times, you know, well, I want to do this or do that, right? And it's not I
Mhm.
do hear people say this at different times. I want to go after this, so I want to do this or do that. And I will say, okay, so what has you not pursuing that, right?
Right.
And then they go into the limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
And so I really feel like that's something that we should talk about and just really dive into. So when you think about, and we can even talk about own personal experiences, right?
Mhm.
But when you think about like when I want to achieve something, the likeliness is you will have thoughts that come to you that will be like, oh, can you do that?
Yeah.
How are you going to achieve that, right? Like, so you will have some pushback in your mind. I think
Mhm.
that's for everybody.
Mhm.
But I think you have to do it afraid.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you make some good points because, like we said, how do that fear show up? And so, like, for some people, I know they do the procrastinating. They will, say to it's not the right time, maybe, next year, push it off. Maybe they'll start over from the beginning and just keep starting over because they are
Right.
afraid to publish or they're afraid to release whatever it is, so they just keep starting over. For me personally, fears show up in overthinking, right? And overthinking the worst case scenario. And I'm one of the people who, when I think overthink the worst case scenario, the cup is always half empty. It's never half full, right? And so that negative to it, right? And it keeps you stuck. So, like you said, I think the topic on fear and how to overcome and things of that nature, and to know if you're living, from a place of fear, or
Right.
if it is, maybe it isn't the right time, right? That is a possibility. But then sometimes maybe you're just afraid to take that step forward.
Right. Definitely. So when you're like, okay, so if someone's perspective is, hey, this glass is half empty versus this glass is half full. Like, really, what is it if you're stuck? And of course, you said procrastination, right? That is also related to the fear, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to procrastinate, put it off because I don't either want to fail at it or I'm not sure. I don't want to make a mistake. So I just keep putting it off and taking on other stuff versus like, no, let me really just get to doing. Let me just start at this. It's something I want. But
Mhm.
then also when I think about the limiting beliefs that likely come up for people, right? Like I always ask, like, what are the thoughts, right, that you are having so we can dismantle the
Right,
limiting beliefs and
right.
replace them with positive cognitions, positive thoughts, like
Yeah.
reframing. Because where did the limiting beliefs come from? Did you create them or was they passed on? Where did they originate from, right? So many times people will have a thought and tell me something that they are thinking or believing, and I'm like, okay, so when did this come about, right? And they're like, oh, well, growing up, I was told this or that, right? Oh, so this not yours. This not your belief.
Mhm.
This
Right.
was given, passed down, and you took it on as it was yours.
Mhm.
So we have to definitely dismantle, challenge. Like, where did this really originate from?
Yeah. And I'm happy you gave that example, right? Because I meet a lot of people who don't fully understand what their limiting beliefs are in a sense of what I don't do things like that. I don't, procrastinate. But then, they say comments that shows the limiting beliefs, such as, I know I can't do it. Or I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough skills. The biggest one I hear a lot. I'm too old to change. Like, no, that is a limited belief. We keep changing as humans. You're never too old to change, right? And so it's one of the things that keep people stuck believing something because they heard once upon a time that, at a certain age, you're not supposed to change careers and you're too old to learn new technology. No, that is a
Right.
limited belief. You're not. You can. You just have to take the time to do it, right? And
Exactly.
how do you challenge that? By taking the time to do it
Yeah.
versus letting that fear of, you know,
Right.
what someone told me hold me back.
Definitely that. And being able to identify for yourself, okay, so I had this thought that I took on as a belief. Is
Mhm,
this limiting me? Like being very clear and specific about what a limiting belief is. Because if you're saying, oh, I need to have already known how to do something to be able to achieve something versus I need to learn it versus I can get the skills necessary. I can
mhm.
ask for help.
Right.
I can definitely achieve this. It may take me longer than what I would want it to, but it's not that it's not obtainable.
Yeah.
Like really identifying what the limiting beliefs are so
Mhm,
that they can be dismantled. But then also when people are afraid, and it's coming from a place of fear, they're likely having that fear because they're not confident in their abilities.
mhm.
And so I always say to build confidence, it requires you to do it
Right.
over and over and over, right? It's
Right.
repetition. But if you never do it, you wouldn't be confident in it.
Correct. Correct. Like, how can you be confident in something you only did one time,
Right.
twice, 3 times? How can 4, right? How can you be confident? It takes time to grow that confidence and to be able to say, I can do this. And even the term flawlessly is not going to be true because you may make just one error. If it's a period, right, in the writing, that little small thing makes a big difference. So
Mhm.
it's like, in a sense of saying I want to be confident, well, first you got to start,
Right.
right? And, like you said, a lot of our beliefs are learned. And so a lot of them do have to be challenged for us to reach to where we want to go, in many circumstances, because our brain is designed to keep us safe. And so to keep us safe, sometimes it say it's too soon. You shouldn't do this. Maybe next year, it's not the right time, but that discomfort is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it means we're on the right path because we're growing, we're
Yeah.
learning. And to become confident, sometimes I need to bump my head to realize that was an error. So I know next time when I go in, how to go in better, different, you know, and just expand beyond my comfort zone, right? And push myself beyond that.
Yeah, definitely, because it requires you to put something into practice, right? You have to continuously do something. You have to, practice, whether you're preparing, when we think about when we were in school, right? And we
Hmm.
would have to do, get up and present, right? We had to prepare at home.
Yeah.
Now, if you are not prepared, of course, you're not going to likely feel confident about presenting it because you haven't prepared.
Right.
So preparation is a big piece in being confident in what you're doing because you're now prepared. You know it, you've taken your time, you've done it, you went over it. And so then you're likely going to be more confident in presenting it. But even still, if you're new to presenting, you may be nervous, but you have to do it
Hmm.
to build the confidence in knowing that you can do it.
That's true. That is so
Yeah.
true. And you said that the greatest thing, right? That preparation, being prepared. Because again, the brain is going to protect us. And so if you show the brain, I'm preparing, I'm getting ready because I'm doing it, then the brain can understand when you go and do it, whatever the big thing is that you are kind of being afraid or, kind of being hesitant on, the brain will give you permission to because it is prepared. It have already in its mind, right, in its brain mind, welcomed the idea that, I am afraid of public speaking. I'm getting up there. Here we go practicing. I got the words. I know how to do it. I've been looking in the mirror. I know what it looks like. I know my time, and just keep going. And the brain gives you that permission that once you get up there, it'll be just like practicing in front of the mirror because you have did it. You practiced. You prepared yourself. And so that's where it boosts your confidence because it came with it. But a lot of times too, we get stuck in that part of I can't do it. So we won't even practice. We won't even prepare. And then we wonder where the confidence level is not going up for us to do it because we never really put ourselves out there.
Right. That is so true. And so when you allow fear to paralyze you,
Hmm.
it really is where you can have all the desires, right? You could want all of the things, but if you don't actually take the steps, you will
Right.
always be wondering likely or in that, well, I wanted it, but I didn't want it. Well, I didn't do it because of my fear. I allowed my fear to take over
Hmm.
versus, you know what? I'm going to do it afraid. I'm going after what it is that I want. I only
Yeah.
got one life. Let me just go at it. Listen.
So you said something so funny to me, right? I have like always hear it a lot of times like, what if I fail? What if it doesn't do well or things of that nature. And it's almost one of them things that I just really think like, have you when you take a step back, if you don't start, then you never know what you can succeed and what you can't. You never know it's going to fail because you never started, right? And so then it comes back to, you know, childhood, right? Growing up, what did you hear? Was it teenage year? Was it young adult years that you was a failure? What pushed you back in convincing yourself that you're behind, you're not doing enough, you can't meet the expectation, you are not enough? Where is it, right? And where do we challenge that to show I can do it? I
Right.
can meet those goals.
Yeah. I always say, I know people use the word failure often, right? And I know it exists. But I think that when people think about failure, if they look at it from a different perspective of you learning and having experiences and doing something and it doesn't go the way that you would want it to go instantly is not failure. I think if you give up, then of course you couldn't get to the end. And so that would be considered like, even in that, it may not be failure, it may just be I gave up because I didn't even want to think or know that if I did fail, what would that feel like? But I
Right.
think that people should look at it from a perspective of if something doesn't work out, because that's what they're saying when they think of failure, right? Like it didn't work. If it
Hmm.
didn't work out and you don't give up, it's an experience and you're just learning. That's all it is.
Yeah, I don't really identify the term failure, like in the
Yeah,
sense of how can you fail? Like I feel like when people put their best foot forward and did the best that they can, no matter what it is, I understand they might not meet the level of expectations that society have placed forward, right? Or that we expect in general, of a what success look like. However, what is like I guess in a sense I don't see how it was a fail if you went out, you did the best that you could, and when you came back and decided this is not working out, so I'm gonna quit. That don't mean you fail. You decided
right.
it's not working out, and I'm gonna take a step back. Or in a sense of, barriers, challenges keep coming up and keep hitting. It's still not I fail. It's still society is throwing these glitches. How did I didn't create these policies, these rules, or the things that is holding me back. So it's hard, right? Because you kind of live with that. I'm afraid to fail, but you also is causing more stress in your life, more anxiety in your life. You're increasing your self-doubt, which is bringing down how you value yourself,
Right.
and that's hurting your own self-esteem, and you haven't started. Why would you take the hard route versus let me just get started? Let me just see
Yeah.
if I can really do it and recognize it as it's not failing. I just took a different route. This is not
Right.
working out. I decided, or the idea just needs some fine tuning. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of times the issue. It's a fail. You just need some assistance. You need a
Yeah.
mentor to help you get to where you want. But your ideas that you have, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have had that idea. And so you're not a failure. You just need help with implementation.
Yes. That is so true, Alicia. I'm so glad you said it in that way. Like people don't realize I have to tweak, I have to adjust. It may not have worked the way that I thought it was going to work, but me getting help, me asking for help, me even seeing someone else doing it, um, I know it's doable because I see someone else doing it, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
about so many inventors. I can't think of their names because I will butcher some stuff. So I'm not even, but I'm like, I don't want these people to be like, she don't know who invented so. Oh, but there has been so many inventors that
Yeah.
did not get it the first time, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
they had to keep doing it
Mhm.
until it came.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that they didn't give up,
Mm-mm.
but they're like, oh, that didn't work.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, now I got to try this. Okay. So it's like people need to know, like, really focus,
Mhm.
stay in your lane. Don't
Yeah.
look to the left or the right of you. Do not compare yourself to anyone else.
Especially on
Don't let
social
this,
media.
listen, don't let this social media fool you.
Mhm.
Everything was instant. No, it ain't no instant
Mhm.
gratification. You may want instant gratification, but things are just not instant, right?
Correct.
Nothing is, oh, I just did this and then all of a sudden I just became this whatever, or it just took off running. It
Yeah.
takes time. It really does. And so when you're committed to something, when you're really wanting something, really conquering your fear so that you can pursue what it is that you want. And when
Mhm.
you enjoy it and you know your why,
Yeah.
that'll keep you going. That'll keep
Mhm.
you going to achieve it.
That's
But you have to get out your own way.
Mhm.
You
Ask
don't
yourself, you know,
self-sabotage.
yeah, what are you actually afraid of? Like what would happen, and that's a big thing. Ask yourself, challenge some of the beliefs that you have
Mhm.
because, the biggest thing is we have overcome a lot of fears as humans. Even starting in childhood from walking, our first day of school.
Mhm.
Let's talk about when we first learned how to drive a car. I know our parents were scared. They were probably really scared.
Right.
You know, we have overcome. You was probably afraid driving that car, and your mama and daddy was probably afraid being a passenger. Okay, we
Right.
have overcame a lot of fears.
Hmm.
So being scared is not the problem. It's about how you're going to overcome it. Because we
Right.
can, as humans, we can. We 100% can always
You
overcome.
must do it afraid.
Mhm,
That is just that simple.
mhm.
Do it afraid. I know I said it's that simple, right?
Yeah.
But it really is where it's not an option.
Mhm. And it's just like one of the things is smoke is focus on the small steps in a sense, focus on the progress. You know, you might not get it all done at once. Maybe the first time it didn't go the way you planned, but at least you launched. And that's
Right.
the big part. So maybe the second time, maybe it will go a little bit better, right? And maybe you ran out of supplies. Okay, maybe the third time, now I know to launch. I got the supplies. I'm ready. You learn from every time you go through it. And
Mhm.
that's where we said the confidence. You build the confidence in knowing what you do each time you put yourself out there because building up that courage to do it. We could say, oh, it's so simple, just try, right? We know it's not so simple.
Right.
What we're saying is create the baby steps,
Hmm.
create the smaller steps to get you to that bigger step. So when you did that big step, you like, I can't believe I did this.
Hmm.
I went from literally just writing words on a paper to looking at a mirror, and now I'm in front of, hundreds of people. Maybe I started small at my church. Maybe I started small at a nonprofit and gave a lecture just to get some experience, but now I'm finally doing that TED Talk, right? Just put yourself out there, right? And it's okay. It's okay.
It really is. And just in knowing that you might need support, right? Like
Mhm.
going after and ensuring that you get the support that you need so that if you get weary or when you get weary, if you are knowing already, you're hesitant, you're afraid, that, hey, let me just call on my support.
Correct.
Let me, like,
Mhm.
so that they can assist you and, like, you're going to be okay, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and that support is like motivation too, right? Because if you have, and we have said it in past, episodes, your friendships, your relationships, they should be lifting you, they should be pushing you higher. And so, even in a sense of you go to your friend and you be like, "Girl, I need to do X, Y, and Z." She should be motivating you. She should be instilling that confidence. You can do it, best friend. You go, girl. Like push your best friend to be where they want to go, because that's what our community is for, is to uplift us, because we're going to have those limiting beliefs and we're going to have to learn how to challenge them. And a lot of times challenging may be those supportive relationships that is showing us that we are better, that we can do it, and sometimes it might be the intentional reflection, right? Where, you start looking inward and figuring out, why am I afraid to begin with, in a
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
But use your support system, practice with them, ask them for their advice, be open and willing to take that criticism, and, positive or negative, and make it something, right? Because again, it can help you grow.
Yes. Identifying the fear. What is it? What's causing this fear, right? I like that you said that, like being very clear on what's causing me to be afraid, right? And then
Yeah.
now I need to challenge that, right? Where did this limiting belief come from? You know, and dismantling, but also replacing, not to think that you're not going to think a thought, because thoughts are going to come to you. So we can't say, oh, you're not going to think negatively. That just makes no sense. Often too, when you are really on the right path, when you're doing what it is that you know that you should be doing, obstacles is gonna come in your way.
Yeah.
That's just life.
Yes. Yes.
It's going to. That's why
Mhm.
you gotta know, like, no, I'm not getting distracted. I'm
Right.
not gonna get off my path. I'm not gonna let this take me under and I stop.
Mhm. And it's okay to look at the challenges that comes, because that's what fear is. It gives us, okay, this what could happen if you do this. It give us that. And it's okay to look at those. It's
Mhm.
okay to weigh those out. But in the end, if they're determining your decisions, then you're really not truly living life, because
Yeah.
you're living in a place of fear. and you're not enjoying what it is to be fearless, right? Because, our dreams, think of dreams, we're fearless. We can accomplish a lot. And you can. That's the whole point of dreams. It's
Yeah.
for you to, imagine things outside of the box and work for those goals. That's why we dream. We dream of the things that we want. And it's okay. You can make it. You 100% can make it. You just have to take the little steps until we get to the bigger steps.
Yeah. If you desire it, if it's something that you know that was presented to you and it's something that you really want,
Hmm.
go after it. You only get one life.
Hmm.
And I just think that people should live fully, in ensuring that they did all that they wanted to while they are here.
Hmm.
So definitely, conquering the fear is important. Looking at the support systems that you have. And also, sometimes people think like, well, I want a mentor, but I don't have a mentor. Um, I say reading, listening to podcasts of people that you know are doing what you want to do,
Yeah.
just taking in the information, soaking in what you can if you cannot have the physical person as
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mentor.
Yeah. And I think that that's so big, and we are at the point where everything is, the internet and, everything you can find on some type of social media platforms and things like that. So even in a sense of, you may not find the mentor, but maybe you might find a free master class, and that master class may teach you something. Maybe you go to YouTube and, YouTube, they have how to do,
YouTube
do it
University.
everything, right? Like the whole degree you can get from YouTube if you pay attention, right? Like seriously, like there's so many ways that you can kind of help challenge your negative beliefs, but at the same time learn as well on how to, reach those goals that you are looking to do. And so it's almost like this take the steps, put yourself out there and things like that, and I think that that's going to be the biggest thing, right? Of not limiting ourselves and growing, because once we do that, the weight of feeling happier because we see the level of success that we wanted, oh, it's beautiful.
I know, right? OMG. It is. It's exciting to know that you were sticking it out, that you did what you wanted to do. You feel accomplished once it's done. And so I think it's so important that people really live as full as possible, achieving whatever it is that they set out to achieve. And not allowing the fear to paralyze them to the extent of them not really living life to the fullest. That's so important.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, of course, as always, we want to just make sure that we bring in our audience. So we want y'all to share with us, right? Like, what is a limiting belief that you have carried, and how did you get past it? What did you do? Did you, just jump out there and just jump out that plane, or did you take smaller steps to get ready? Like, I'm just curious what other people do to push themselves beyond, that fear and that limiting belief and to accomplish those goals and live life.
Yes, definitely. I'm glad you engage the audience in knowing that. Listen, identify if you are one that has the limiting belief, but
Mhm.
if you have tackled it, how did you go about tackling it? If you still are unsure to how to tackle it, listen, we have tools in how you would dismantle limiting beliefs and replace them. So definitely that's a good approach for sure. And knowing is so important to know.
Definitely, definitely. And so, as always, on social media, send us, what you do to get over your limiting beliefs. How do you replace your fear? Send it into us, and let us know. We're very curious. We really want to know.
Yeah.
And so, social media, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram at Empower Ignite, and then the number 2.
Yes. And we are rooting for everyone that is wanting to achieve some goals. Listen, we will be your cheerleaders and your support because that's what we're here for, to empower and ignite transformation. All righty. Take care.
Bye.